All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
Awareness. So I saw this clip yesterday, right after the show, when I do the show daily with you, 10 a.m. to 11:15, 11:30, depending on if we have a guest or whatever it may be. I go in and I start looking for material for tomorrow. And I saw this clip from some kind of spoken word performance. I thought it was a movie when I'd first seen it. It was rumbling around X, but it's not. It's about becoming awareness of the things around you. I don't mean necessarily like aware of the beautiful colors in the sunset, although that's a beautiful piece of awareness too. It's, folks, if I can just be candid with you, opening up the show. You know, cliches are, people mock cliches, but sometimes, as I've ironically said often, cliches can be valuable at times because they speak to timeless truths. And when people say a cliche, everybody gets it. So when you hear a cliche like, you know, ignorance is bliss sometimes, it doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but sometimes not knowing things is bliss because you can just go along with the crowd and there's absolutely no pain or suffering from having to kind of stand up by yourself against the crowd of sheep and say, stop, you're walking off a cliff. And I don't mean like physical pain I just mean it's not easy to not be the current thing guy. Because there's a lot of power, influence, and money trying to get you to believe the current thing. Or as I say often, they want you to believe a story and not the story. But I saw, who was in the chat? Is it someone said in the chat, I love that, Hot 8 Mama or something. Great, great chat name, by the way. Said something like, Dan, thanks for seeing around corners for us. Folks, the show has been successful for over a decade now. Not because I have, you know, I belong in the Avengers and have some Professor X telepath like mutant powers or, you know, Jean Grey, if you watch this Spider-Man movie. I don't. I just think I read people really well, and being perpetually online doing show prep because I'm neurotic about it. I see these things as they start because I know the accounts to follow and I see exactly what they're doing. And once you become aware of it, I know it's hard, but I'm sure, I promise you over time, the folks who've been loyal supporters of the show, the P1 audience, the Bongino army out there, who've been with us 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, years. Some of you from the beginning. I promise you'll be vindicated. If you're following online what's going on with this deep state corruption and some of the recent reporting from John Solomon and others, now it's all starting to make sense, isn't it? But I thought the doomers told you nothing was happening. No, the doomers are the ignorance class. They don't know anything. And you're going to see that. I hope now that awareness is all starting to make sense. I want to show you the clip I'm talking about in a minute. It's short. It's about a minute, but it's definitely worth your time. I got a big show for you today. A lot happened yesterday. Obviously, given some of the stuff I've been involved in, I have to be careful now talking about it. As it becomes more public, I can comment on it like anyone else in the media. If it's public, it's public. But you'll see. You've been misled by a bunch of people who want you to think like an NPC and fall for the current thing because the current thing is attacking this MAGA movement because it's the most dangerous populist movement on the Republican side we've seen in 50, 60 years. They need it to fall apart. Folks, it feels like our country finally has some momentum again, with many of us fighting to restore common sense and America first. But we've seen this before, and you see what happens. Sometimes we can get comfortable out there, and the left starts taking back ground inch by inch by inch. Next thing you know, we're back in an abyss again. We can't let that happen. America needs every one of us in the fight. A big part of that means supporting companies that support us proudly. Patriot Mobile's been with us from the beginning. They're a proud partner of the show, have been for a while. I use Patriot Mobile. Guy uses Patriot Mobile. Paula uses Patriot Mobile because it's great service. Not just because they have a great message. The service is good too. Both help. Patriot Mobile gives you premium priority nationwide service on any of the 3 major U.S. networks, so you get the coverage you need when you need it. Plus, unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and a 100% U.S.-based customer support team. Switching's easy. Took us just a few minutes. Keep your phone, keep your number, activate in minutes. I can attest to it, did it myself. But Patriot Mobile is so much more than great wireless service. They supported a growing movement of Americans defending faith, family, freedom, and the future of this country. They donate millions to organizations fighting for our freedoms. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. Go today to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Dan for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. All right, fellas, let's go. By the way, correction, Paula was the one on the phone on speaker with Patriot Mobile. But I promise I was right there listening to the less than 5 minutes it took to transfer both of our phones. It was quite an experience. Folks, awareness. Again, I hope it's all starting to make sense now, and you're starting to see how many of you have been played by a coalition of doomers and left-wing media people who are eager to destroy this MAGA movement because it's a threat to their very existence, their donor networks, their activist networks, their NGOs, everything. They can't have that happen. This is the most powerful political movement you've seen in America in a long time, regardless if you like or can't stand Donald Trump. I think we know where I stand on that. Regardless of where you stand, I think it's pretty clear right now that this populist movement is a real threat to the tyranny of the insiders. Folks, however, if you want a friend in Washington, D.C., as I learned, I think sometimes a very difficult way, what do I always tell you, Jasmine? Get a freaking dog. Get a doggy. Jasmine, get a dog. You want a friend in D.C. Josh, don't laugh. You may go to D.C. one day. And I'm going to tell you before you leave, you want a friend in D.C., get a doggy. I don't care what kind of dog. You can get a Lucy dog, a little golden doodle, mini golden doodle. Loves Jasmine, by the way. I hear her on, there's a wood floor in the studio, and Lucy can't stop when she starts. She like slides across the floor into Jasmine. I don't care what kind of dog you get. Lucy does like Josh. Josh is quite a photographer. Josh is taking some pictures of Lucy. They look fake. They look like they come in those, the picture frames. Now, I kind of knew that, but I want you to watch this. This is from what is this, Russell G? I don't know this guy at all. I don't really care. Russell G. Banks. I want you to listen to this minute or so about awareness and how ignorance can be bliss. But once you process what I'm telling you, that everyone's got an agenda. Everyone has an agenda. I'm not necessarily saying that's a horrendous thing in many cases. Your agenda might be a really great thing. It might be freedom, faith, liberty, pro-life, the Second Amendment. But once you recognize that, it's hard to go back. Check this out.
The truest words was from Nietzsche when he said that any man who knows too much can't fit in anywhere. And that's the curse of awareness. Once you start to delve underneath the surface, that's when you realize this whole world, it's not so simple. And you start to notice who people really are and the games they're playing. And that fake confidence, all the ulterior motives. And you realize this whole society, it's built on lies. And people, they're sheep. And once you see that, you can't unsee that. So you try and tell people. But they say to you, no, you're overreacting, you are crazy. So you stop talking. But you're still observing, you're still watching, but you know you don't belong anymore. And it's not because you think you're too good for anyone. No, it's because you've seen too much and you're watching everything, and now you know you can't go back to how it was anymore. And awareness, it isolates you. And it's the price of clarity. Because the crowd say, move away. But then at least you know who you are.
That one kind of hit me hard. Because I watch people now, online and elsewhere, and They don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They don't listen to anything I say, despite the fact that I've said it 1,000 times, but they have an agenda. And one of the greatest gifts of the last year of my life, year and a half, is an awareness, no matter how painful it's been to listen to all like the bullshit out there, knowing not only that it's not true, but the opposite is true. But man, was it a gift. And I so deeply appreciate it. Folks, it's not easy to stand alone with this stuff. I bring this up because you're seeing this massive movement in the Folex MAGA side on the right. And there are people inside the government right now, very powerful, who insist that I'll be the last one to have my head cut off if I just leave these people alone, when I've told you over and over, because I am fully aware of what's happening now, that it is only a matter of time before they turn on you too. I'll show you later in the show what I mean. Ignorance may be bliss, and it may be easy, but it's not right. I've told you, and now you're starting to see as information comes out and it trickles out, slowly but surely, you're starting to see that almost everything you've been told is bullshit. I put up for you the other day that Wall Street Journal story about the Central Park horse-drawn carriages. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Because everyone on every side of that, or about horse-drawn, what do you care about that for? Every single thing you've been told about that argument is someone with an agenda. The one guy wants the horse stables and has pretended it's about animal rights. The animal rights group is saying they were abused, although the vets are saying they're not abused. Everybody has an agenda. That's just the way the world works, folks. It's Thomas Sowell's conflict of visions. The left thinks everybody's pure at heart. I'm not telling you everybody's evil. I'm just telling you everybody is a rational maximizer trying to make their life better. And once you see it and become aware of it, you will be the better person for it. Here's the article right there. Forgetting the doomers for a minute, I'll get back to that in a little bit. I want to show you what awareness looks like when you've been an NPC falling for the current thing for years, and you start to realize that the bullshit has flowed over you too, and you almost can't wash it off. This is Tim Robbins on the Joe Rogan show. Tim Robbins, you know, was Bull Durham, famous actor, Shawshank. He's been in a ton of movies. Goes on and on. Tim Robbins is a pretty hard left guy, correct? I want you to watch what it looks like when he realizes that lefty-driven cancel culture, he doesn't mention it started on the left, but it did. You remember cancel culture. Talk about masks, talk about COVID, talk about the 2020 election malfeasance. You were canceled. I was banned from YouTube for telling you cloth masks don't work. You look it up. Don't tell me like, oh, you're fine. Go look it up yourself. I always bring the receipts. Cancel culture was a Soviet Stalin-esque movement to stop anyone from speaking about objective truth so that the government would let you know who the big boss was. And a lot of lefties who claimed to be about tolerance and coexistence showed they were full of shit, that it wasn't about coexistence at all. It was about subjugation. This is what it looks like, though, when the curtain parts and you're exposed sitting there like the emperor with no clothes. Listen to this.
It was the uptake on the vaccines in Romania, and they said something like 40%. I said, well, how do you explain that? And they said, well, you know, we lived under the Soviet Union for many years, so we know how to look like we comply when we're not complying. And I said, what else reminds you of the Soviet Union? They said, without a doubt, cancel culture. I said, why? I said, well, Soviet Union used to keep files on all of us, right? So as long as you're a good party member, there wouldn't be a thing said.
Yeah.
But once you stepped out of line, they brought out that old file. Now that affair with your secretary from 30 years ago, it's going to ruin your life. They're going to ruin your family. They're going to kill your career. And they're going to make a big public display of it to show other people to stay in line. And they felt like cancel culture was basically operating in the same way as the Soviet Union did. And it was really interesting to see that perspective in Eastern Europe.
all of a sudden, you're seeing the Bill Maher's of the world, the Van Joneses of the world, the Fettermans of the world, people like this starting to realize, like, gosh, I've been ignorant to this the whole time. And then when you see it, you almost never. It happens. It happens occasionally. What's the guy? There was a guy out there, David something, I forget his name. Brock, wasn't it Brock? Occasionally you see people on the right float to the left. It's very rare, but it happens. I'd argue like David French, another one. Like, why, what motives? I don't know. Everybody's got an agenda. I just said that. But you see a whole shit ton of lefties who move over to the right. I'm not telling you Tim Robbins is a conservative at all. I'm just telling you, when they start to see that the right is about positions and longitudinal truths, chronological truths over time, and the left is all about bullshit and faith in an argument that has never worked, socialism, communism, it's a really brutal wake-up call. I mean, imagine waking up every morning, or waking up one morning, I should say, looking in the mirror and finding out every single thing you thought about yourself that was good was fake. Folks, that's got to be hard. We all have the potential for bad actions and evil in us, all of us. But a lot of us are just good folks, net present value good. We do more good than bad, we would hope. Imagine learning everything on your spreadsheet of good versus evil on the good ledger was all wrong and was just not only not good, but was downright evil. I believe in communism, socialism, all this stuff. I'm the good guy. I want equity and equality and all this other shit. And then you find out that what you've supported actually does the opposite. It destroys people's lives. It leads to gulags, prisons, torture, poverty, famine, and has every single time it's been tried. Imagine what that looks like. Folks, I don't really get this criticism a lot, but it comes across occasionally that, man, you focus on this socialism stuff a lot. Folks, it is the battle of our time. I said yesterday on Jesse Waters' show on Fox, this right now, what you're living through, is the break glass moment. This is not a fringe movement anymore. You've got people running for office with a podcast host out there talking about how he's not bothered by the savage, brutal rape during a terror attack of women. You're not bothered by it? Doesn't change anything for you? It pains me to ask this question, but what if that was your mom? God forbid. Or your sister? Oh, now it's personal. Can't say that. No, I can. God forbid it was. But would that change anything? Or is that ideology, that evil so strong in you that you can't look at the man in the mirror like a freaking Michael Jackson song or something? You can't even do that. Folks, this is the kind of stuff we're dealing with. The break glass moment is here. I want to play a couple more clips from that amazing Martha McCallum interview between this really ridiculous female DSA socialist actor and Daniel DiMartino. He's coming on the show, right? Next Thursday, so I'm looking forward to that, who does an excellent job. His family's from Venezuela, has seen socialism, the deprivation, the torture, the political arrests, the silencing of individual big R God-given rights. He's seen it up close and personal. I want to play clip number 1 where she cites an example of socialism's success. And stunningly, as socialists simultaneously attack our Pentagon, our military, our war fighters, and say we should defund the Pentagon. Oh, I got that coming up too. What did she do? She uses you and your valor and courage. You serve this country. You're not making squat. No one in the military is getting rich. Nobody. Period. Even the 3-4 stars, they make decent money. I promise you, they're not making Elon Musk type money. Nobody in the military. You did it because of one reason, and that's it. You wanted to serve. You had the balls to go in. Imagine using the military you hate as a socialist. You want to defund them and get rid of them as your argument for government-run rationed healthcare and doing it with a straight face. Play the VA clip. This actually happened. Check this out.
One really great example is the VA and the healthcare that we provide through the VA.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
How many veterans have you spoken to? Now, there are VA systems who do well. There are others where people are waiting months and years for care, and they served our country. But Daniel, I'm going to let you jump in.
Yeah, we already have many socialist systems in America. The VA, the Indian health system, we have public housing, we have Amtrak. I just got delayed an hour and a half on Amtrak. We have USPS. All of the public things in America lose money, have subpar customer service, because the truth is they're not accountable to the consumer. They can just get a bailout from the government, and that is the problem with the government. That's what they did to my country of Venezuela. They destroyed the richest country in Latin America, and the DSA is an organization that supported the destruction of Venezuela. Your team, Francis, traveled to Venezuela to support the dictator of my country that 8 million of us fled, and then now you come to America and say, let's do it all over again. I promise you, we are different.
Retro Whiskey in the chat says, quote, I'm a vet. I'd rather take my own tonsils out with a spoon than go to the VA. The VA? Now, the Trump administration has made significant strides. The VA, have you actually spoken to any veterans? Besides the fact, by the way, some customer surveys, just to be candid with you folks, because my receipts are legitimate, even when they don't perfectly enhance an argument. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit. There are some VA surveys that turn out pretty well. There are some places, there's Retro Whiskey. There are some places in some VAs around the country where people are satisfied. I'm not here to bullshit you, but there are a lot where people aren't. A lot, where they feel like their care is rationed by time. And also to the DSA people, you're lobbying to defund our military, to crap all over our military institutions, which are the finest people among us who serve, who serve with selflessly, with no sense of self. It's probably one of the, I mean, think about this, right? How many jobs do you go to work every day? I certainly don't, where you think like, I'm going to die today. That's the military. These guys go out there every day with the guns pointed at them, and you're using them as an example as if they didn't sacrifice. If there was ever a case for the government to support a body of people through collective taxpayer action, I'm not telling you it's efficient. I'm just saying that's the example you use. What are you going to do next? Call for like required service? A mandatory draft? Disgusting, using our vets for your socialist cause. Total bullshit. I want to play one more clip from this, and I want to show you just another shocking interview from Hannity, just hammering down this point that these people talk out of the both sides. So we should support our veterans now with the VA, which, by the way, our veterans deserve support. You'll get 100% agreement from me. Oh, but we should defund them and take away their money and their salaries. You can't have it both ways. What's it like to wake up every morning and know you're entirely full of crap? But more importantly, what's it like to not be aware of it? And to sit there and have this force fed down your throat and you just buy it? What's that like? I want to play the second clip from this. This is another good one. I love that interview so much. It's very rare I play the whole thing. I broke it apart over 2 days, but this one's worth your time too. And again, a debate between a just clown of a socialist versus Daniel DiMartino does a really good job. Check this out.
Right now, the United States spends about 60% of our entire budget. Every one of us pays 60% of each of those dollars on welfare. What percent of the budget would you like to see go to more social programs, grocery stores, all of this stuff? How much is enough out of everyone's taxes?
I mean, what we're doing right now is not enough. What we're doing right now is not even cutting it.
But we see how much fraud is in the system. Have you been following these fraud stories? Have you followed what happens?
Francis, I think that the stories of fraud are wildly overblown.
Oh, really? Why do you say that?
Mm-hmm. Francis, but forget about fraud. The average public school in New York City spends $34,000 per child per year. And in many schools, the majority of kids graduate without learning anything. They're not proficient in math or reading. Should we still be spending $34,000? How much money is enough? How much more of our tax dollars? And then the DSA supports ending or defunding the Department of War. I mean, do you just want us to be invaded by China? Is that what the agenda is?
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a tweet coming up at some point in the show today from Stephen Moore on X. You pay more of your money to the government in the form of taxes than you pay for almost any other product or service in your life. Food, all of it. What are you getting for that? These socialists want more. $34,000 to educate a kid in New York City, and they can't freaking read. You know what was on yesterday? Ever see that movie with Morgan Freeman about Principal Joe Clark up in New Jersey? It's a true story. Lean on Me. I used to love that movie. I've watched it probably 100 times. It popped on my TV yesterday, and I just sat there like fixated on the screen. They can't freaking read. That's a line he gives to the the school union, the board union. And they can't read. $34,000 to educate a kid who can't read or do math, and you want more? Make sure we get to that more tweet later. You spend more of your money on government than anything else, and what do you get? What do you get? I'm asking you in the audience a question. I'm not trying to be an asshole. What are you getting for it? Social Security's going broke. What do you get? Your garbage picked up twice a week? Okay, great. You could pay for that privately. The town could get together. You guys could do something with your HOA. What do you get? What are you getting for that? You getting private security or the police sitting outside your house every night? You getting personal fire services where people are coming to your house every day going, hey, how are your fire alarms? What are you getting for that? Most of your life is spent paying for government that flips you the double-barreled middle finger and gives you nothing for it. What are you getting for it? Nobody does this about any other product or service you buy. Nobody spends money on cybersecurity to find out there's a cybersecurity infiltration into your network every day and your information is stolen. Completely fails. We're spending money on students who can't read. You would fire a private tutor who you paid for your entire adult life to teach you to read that couldn't teach you to read. You would fire a cyber company if there was a cyber infiltration into your business every day, but not with government. They just want more. It's a freaking parasite on your life. I haven't seen Laser Dan Head in a long time. It is a freaking leech on your skin that won't go away. You can't peel it off. And they want more. And more and more. I got more coming up. I want to show you this Hannity clip last night from another DSA candidate who, again, ladies and gentlemen, just says the quiet part out loud. They're not hiding it. The awareness component of this that's sometimes painful. It's tough to stand up when you've got a group of, younger folks who've been indoctrinated into this telling you, Mom, Dad, it's not cool. Socialism's cool. Mom, Dami's cool. He's got 100 different voices. More on that later. These are the cool kids, the AOCs. Sometimes it's tough and painful to tell them, Bobby, Brenda, whatever the hell your name is. That's bullshit. You've been lied to. Awareness matters. Wake up now. Wake up now before the cell door closes on you. It's only a matter of time before they come for you. Quick break and I'll show you what I mean on the other side. Wake up now. I'm telling you, once that cell door locks behind you, it's going to be the loudest sound in the world. You know what I've learned over the years? The harder something is to navigate, the more likely it is that people just give up. That's exactly what happens with healthcare. It's one of the reasons I use and recommend All Family Pharmacy. They've been great to me for travel packs and everything else. They're always looking for ways to get the medications you need to use simpler, faster, and in a less frustrating manner. They've added a feature I think you're going to like. Instead of searching only by medication name, you can now search by the condition itself. Makes it a lot easier. Whether it's a sinus infection, respiratory illness, allergies, or even your everyday maintenance medications, they'll guide you to the treatment options commonly used for those conditions. Everything's reviewed by licensed U.S. physicians and pharmacists, so you're getting trusted information, not guesswork. Just complete a secure medical form. One of their licensed doctors will review it, and if appropriate, will write your prescription. Then your medication is shipped directly to your door. It can't get easier. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino10. You'll save 10%. Or call them at 561-717-6794 and speak with a real person who can answer your questions. Prescription required. Always consult a medical professional before taking any medication. This is not medical advice. Thank you, All Family Pharmacy. Check them out. They're worth it. Today's show also brought to you by Kalshi. Listen, folks, you know I'm not a big gambler, but I've had a lot of fun lately looking at marketplace predictions. You've seen me actually use them on the show as well for everything from politics to sports. Kalshi's where I get the best insight on predictions. From sports to politics to finance or any variety of markets people are monitoring, Kalshi.com is a bookmark you need. I featured them in my last election special, and they were spot on. Our president was elected as predicted. Kalshi, K-A-L-S-H-I. Kalshi.com is one of the only places where you can trade on real-world events in all 50 states. Click the link in the description at Rumble or get a free $10 credit when you trade $100. It's not just politics or economics. They've got markets on everything from sports to pop culture to climate predictions. Kalshi has a pulse on what the world thinks will happen. Click the link in the description, get a free $10 credit when you trade $100. You must be 21 and the purchaser must be present in the state where the trade is placed. See important disclosures at Kalshi.com. Kalshi is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC. Again, check them out, Kalshi.com/Bongino, Kalshi.com/Bongino. Thank you, Kalshi. Getting back to the show, this is what I'm talking about. This is what a lack of awareness looks like when you're just the NPC current thing, or and you believe in things like freaking bumper stickers like coexist and tolerance and everybody's wonderful. And if we defund the police and we send a social worker, nothing's going to happen. They're going to go in there, and if they have to, maybe they'll use foul language, but God forbid anybody has to use a gun or mace or pepper or anything like that, because people are generally all good. That's going to get you killed. We don't need a military. We should take money out of the military and just give it to people not to work, because we just don't have enough social welfare in the United States. We'd be invaded by China tomorrow. Ignorance isn't bliss in that case. It's just pure stupidity. Ignorance, stupidity, same thing. Watch this clip from Hannity last night with this other lunatic who didn't even know Sean's name. He called him Scott. This guy was at Chris Rabb, another DSA candidate. And I told you, I've got a great source up who knows the swamp quite well, who said the Democrats are freaking out right now over all the media appearances by these socialists, because every time they go on TV, whether Fox or elsewhere, they say stupid shit. Check this out.
You want to abolish ICE?
Absolutely. And dismantle the immigrant concentration camps.
Do you want to defund the Department of War?
We need to radically reduce how much money we're spending with the Pentagon. Absolutely. Our war budget is radically larger than every other country combined.
I thought they loved it. Did they not? But that was just... You all right there, Guy? All right. I thought they loved the VA and our war fighters. Andy, what is a VA? What does a V in VA stand for? You know? He's taking a shot. That's very good. I like it. I like how on the spot, it's a live show. He didn't even hesitate. This is a hard question. And he's taking a flyer. He had to look it up. He said, I think it says veterans. Veterans meaning, what does that mean exactly? People who've entered the military? He's confused. He's like, he's like, let me ask ChatGPT. I thought they love veterans. You just heard the DSA lady tell Daniel DiMartino that, hey, man, here's the best model of socialism for healthcare is helping our veterans. And now I don't know. I just heard that guy say they want to basically like defund radically. He uses the word radically. Did you catch it? Radically reduce funding to the Pentagon, the military, the Department of War. It's just strange. It's almost like they're bullshitting you. They want to defund ICE as well. Because, I mean, who really needs people with guns at a border? I mean, that sounds really horrible. People enforcing borders. I mean, we should just put up like a 4-way stop sign. You guys ever see the 4-way stop? Listen, stop at stop signs. You'll get yourself hurt. However, folks, you know the 4-way stop sign. A lot of people roll up and they don't make the stop because they figure the other guy's going to stop. It's just a suggestion for them most of the time. Maybe we should make the border a suggestion too. If these DSA people aren't crazy, we should put a sign up. And you know what it should say, Andy? It should say, hey, man, it'd be a really good idea if you stop here. But if you don't worry, nothing's going to happen because there's no ICE. And I'm sure, because people are good. People are good, and ignorance is bliss, and liberals have no awareness. I am sure everyone's going to stop and go, hey, man, I read the sign. It says I really shouldn't come in, so I'm just going to turn around and go home. How are you falling for this? Folks, I shouldn't say never. I'm really disturbed that we're back. I thought with this growing movement on the right, we now call MAGA, I never thought we'd be back here so quickly. Back to this break glass moment where, shockingly, despite the deprivation of North Korea, the complete collapse of the economy in Russia, anyone telling you otherwise is totally full of shit. The failure of the Soviet Union in the 80s. I can't believe that we're back to this spot again, arguing about the unholy alliance between the Islamo-fanatics and the commies when it's so obvious that you are the obstacle to them and they want you wiped out. They talk about it all the time. What's happened in Michigan with Abdul al-Sayed is so shocking to basically normal voting American people who follow the political picture. They can't believe that I could put up the Mike Rogers tweet. Mike Rogers is the Republican opponent in the state of Michigan against this complete nutbag. He says the money quote, this is Josh Krashour on X. The money quote from Mike Rogers, again, is the Republican running against Abdul al-Sayed. Quote, I spent years hunting terrorists and bringing Osama bin Laden to justice. Never in a million years that I think I'd be running against someone who believes America deserved 9/11. I'm rarely at a loss for words. I mean, it is a talk show. It's my job. But yeah, we're here. I told you in the beginning of the show, this is the break glass moment. Folks, you have people who could potentially be voting members of the world's most powerful deliberative body, the United States Senate. There's no question about that. You have people like Abdul al-Sayed who could be in there, who believes that people jumping out of mega skyscrapers as they're on fire after they've been hit by Islamo-fanatic nuts and have the tongues of fire licking at them and they don't want to burn, who jump. Have you ever looked out of a window out of a 50-story building, what that looks like? Imagine double that. They jumped to their deaths to escape burning alive because of what some scumbag Islamo-Nazis did. And we deserve that? And this person could be voting on issues that affect your everyday life and your kid? Folks, the moment's not tomorrow. The moment is now. Here's the first ad drop, a campaign ad from Mike Rogers for Senate against his opponent, Abdul al-Sayed, who is as big a nutcase as the Nazi tattoo guy who stepped aside up in Maine because his polls were bad. But the Democrats loved him too. He actually won. I want you to watch this, and I want you to notice something about this clip. Did you guys notice this? No Republican appears in this. This is just the Democrats in their own words, because that's all you need. Check this out.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
When I was in college, I took a terrorism class.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
You know, I am in support of abolishing ICE.
Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the
Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
The people who listen to Hassan are engaging in faith. They want a way forward into our politics.
There are no Republicans in there. Let the streets soak in their red capitalist blood. That's a good point, Guy. Guy said he's confused. Folks in the chat, what could they possibly mean by that? They're being very cryptic. Very cryptic. I hope you sense the dripping sarcasm and the awareness is there. I know you do. Just listen to them. Just listen to their own words. It's not a Republican and they don't need it. It's not, hey, here's what I think this guy said. Here's what he said. This guy could be in the United States Senate voting on issues like your healthcare, your education, your Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all these issues that affect your life. They could be voting on that for you. Law enforcement, federal law enforcement, the military. Imagine being in the military where you swore to protect and serve this country, and you're running with a guy who aligns with people who thinks we deserved 9/11. Folks, you ever heard this? We'll put up that France 24 piece. You know, Guy said at the beginning of the show, well, this is from 2013. I said, no, that's the point. Like, it doesn't matter. This could have been written in 1700s. Takia, or the terrorist art of deception. You know what that is? It's where these Islamo fanatics engage in the deception campaigns and lying to get you to go along with the agenda so that they can cut your head off because you're the infidel. This is what they do. This is what the Islamo-Nazis and fascists do, who are aligning with the communists to get you out of the way. How? He says, I don't know, maybe we should listen to them. When they say that the streets will be soaked in your capitalist blood, maybe we should listen to them. Man, you can't say that. I don't have to. They did. Takia. It's kind of weird because the Islamo fanatics, this is their thing. Deceive the stupid voters who will go along with us so we can cut their heads off last after we've used them. They're telling you that. It's embedded in their ideology, in their fundamentalism. Have you never heard that term before? They're telling you we're lying to you. Here's the weird thing, man. The commies do the exact same thing. They may not call it that, but it's the exact same thing. The only way to get people, which is the essence of communism, is forfeiting your individual liberty. That's what the collective is. Nam Chorios, Takia, Islamic permission to lie, to spread Islam. The commies do the same thing. They're never going to get you to forfeit your individual liberty without lying to you to get you. No one wants to hand over their liberty. That's why jail sucks. Does anybody want to go to jail? That's not crazy. No, why? You get 3 meals, you get a bed. May not be the best meals. Bed may not be that cozy, but you don't have to worry about anything. Why does anybody not want to go to jail? Because you have no freedom and people don't want to give up their freedom. So how have commies gotten a whole bunch of people non-aware of what's going on, no sense of awareness? How have they suckered them into believing giving up their freedom is beneficial to their lives? Through strategic lying and the art of deception. Here, you want to see an easy one? Cue up that Francesca Hong. This is another socialist running for governor in Wisconsin. I can't play this lady enough because this lady's, I think, genuinely stupid. I don't think this is an act. I really do believe she's dumb. She's totally not extemporaneous, can't think on her feet. She can't give an answer. She can't debate. I mean, she fits in as a perfect socialist. She's just dumb enough to fall in line. Remember she was asked a question about Thanksgiving? She's like, man, Thanksgiving, colonizers, all this crap. Now she realizes she's got to win an election where Americans say, well, that sounds crazy. And watch the art of deception. She completely not only flips, but what's her favorite holiday? You'll never, what do you think, Andy? He's like, not Thanksgiving. She just shit on Thanksgiving. No way. Yeah, right, gotta be Easter, right? No way. Okay, well, let's see what she says. The art of deception. Check this out.
Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Because I
there
love
you have it.
Yep. I don't want to cancel it. I actually love it.
Andy's stunned. He can't believe it. It's like she lied to you in the art of deception. Folks, the unholy alliance, Islamo fanatics and commies, they use the exact same footprints and tactics to get you and your individual liberty out of the way. Once you see it, you will never unsee it, however painful it is for you to wake up and realize you've been played like a Stradivarius. You've been played for a fool. I know it's hard. I can't even imagine what it's like, you getting up every morning and knowing you've been played for a sucker. But I'm sorry, that awakening moment will change your entire life and it'll save you from the sword on your neck next. I promise that cell block, when that door closes behind you, is not going to sound good. Reminds me of that Yuri Bezmenov KGB defector segment we've used so many times on this show, where he's crystal clear that the only way to wake some of these people up is, what's the phrase he uses, Guy? A boot in the ass as they lock the gate behind you. Folks, I'm going to take a last break of the show, and I want to play for you another important clip that I'm going to say went viral, but was all over X yesterday. There's an interview, I think it's Ross do that, and he's interviewing this Yale professor. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes they just say the quiet part out loud. The way to get you out of the way first is also from collective government power, from being a subject to the government, which is what communism and socialism is. Wake up, be aware. The only way to get you out of the way, in addition to gaslighting you, is to wipe out competitors to government for truth. The only source of truth are going to be government officials who are, you're their subjects. And two of the biggest competitors are religion and the family. And sometimes they just admit it. If you've seen this clip, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. And I mean like a treat on Halloween when a dude puts like the razor blade in the can, like that kind of treat. Last break. Hey, I've had a moment here when I decided, the check engine light pops on and suddenly, you've all seen this, and you're doing the math in your head and you're like, oh my gosh, the check engine light, what the heck is this going to cost? Not only that, it takes time. You got to get the car towed sometimes. You don't have the money. It's never convenient. And these days, car repairs are not getting cheaper. Everything's electronic. It breaks thousands of dollars. That's one of the reasons I use CarShield. They help protect hardworking Americans with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, and rental car options, so you're not left stranded when something goes wrong. And you can choose your own ASE-certified mechanic and have the work done by someone you trust. With inflation driving up the cost of just about everything, one unexpected breakdown can wreck your monthly budget. CarShield offers flexible month-to-month plans and low deductibles to help keep repair costs predictable. Real independence means not being trapped on the side of the highway waiting for a tow truck you can't afford right now. CarShield gives you total freedom with 24/7 roadside assistance and covered repairs paid directly to the shop. Right now, CarShield is offering our listeners 20% off with the code Bongino at carshield.com/Bongino. Visit carshield.com/Bongino. Lock in your coverage today. Protect yourself from expensive car repairs. Again, go to carshield.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for 20% off. Thank you, CarShield. And our last sponsor today is Birch Gold. Listen, you don't wait for your house is on fire until you get a smoke detector, right? You don't wait until the wind and there's a hurricane are hammering your home before you get insurance and prepare for a hurricane, right? You don't reach for your seatbelt after the impact, after the crash, the hurricane, or the house fire. It's too late. Similarly, don't wait until the dollar goes to zero before you buy gold. It's too late then. Diversify with precious metals now, like I do, because you never know what will threaten your savings next. Persistent inflation, a weakening dollar, unexpected financial disruptions. You don't know what's coming, but you can take a preventative step. Do that right now by requesting a free info kit on gold from my friends at Birch Gold Group, BIRCH. Just text my name, Dan, to the number 989898. Text Dan to 989898. There's no cost, there's no obligation, just straightforward information on how you can diversify your savings. Even an IRA or 401k, using an IRA or 401k with gold. I buy gold from Birch Gold, have many times. You can trust them too. Text Dan to 989898. Message and data rates apply. Thank you, Birch Gold. As I said, sometimes they say the quiet part out loud. Hot 8, Mama said in the beginning of the show, thank you, Dan, for seeing around corners. I got to tell you, I've said many times, I don't say this out of a faux sense of humility. It's genuine. All you have to do is read what they're saying. I'm online all day. You all work for a living. I have to do show clips and put the show together. I love being the Paul Revere. I've been saying this forever. The left hates the family and religion. Why? The socialist left. For no other reason than family and religion can be the source of an objective truth that will conflict with the government. If you genuinely believe, because of your faith and good parents you had, good parenting, that all men and women, Black, Hispanic, Jews, Muslims, whatever, all men and women are entitled to dignity and God-given rights, which is what a lot of good practicing face, not all, but good practicing face and good parents will tell their kids, then that's a conflict with government, which wants you to treat people unequally. No, they don't. Yes, they do. That's the whole source of critical theory, that you should treat the white male patriarchy differently because they're the fountain of evil. Not because of anything they've done, just because of who they are. It's a conflict. They need it out of the way. Watch this Yale professor basically admit it, that your kids belong to us, not to you. I'm not kidding. Sometimes they say the really quiet part really loud, and you should pay attention. Check this out.
I've gotten in some hot water for proposing we consider overweighting the votes of younger people or assigning the youngest eligible voters proxy votes for the unrepresented children of our country. So those are edgy.
Why not assign them to those children's parents?
Well, because there's a divergence of interest between parents and children. And I think it's likelier that young people, not people who are raising families, will have the best insight into the interests of children. Whereas if you were awarded 5
I think
proxy
that's
votes,
daft. I think it's absurd to imagine that a 24-year-old recent college graduate has a better assessment of the interests of my own children than I do. I say this with all due respect to 24-year-old recent college graduates, of whom I hope to be the parent of in 9 years or so.
I think parents generally confuse the interests of their family with the interests of their children. And part of our goal, I think, as parents, but also as a society, is trying to make sure that children aren't the hostages of their parents, as much as we rely on parents to raise them.
Guy doesn't say much during the show, as you know. Guy's like, hey, man, this is pretty egregious. Folks, you want to see around a corner? I don't want to screw this up, so I'm trying to be very deliberate, so forgive me. The pause is intentional. Remember Hillary Clinton's book, It Takes a Village? No, it doesn't take a village. It takes good parents. Folks, this has been a generational war on moms and dads and nuclear families around the world by communists. Why does this absolute imbecile, the very epitome of what we call on this show the stupid smart person, what is he, a Yale law professor or something? He's also the dumbest you've seen in a long time. We should overweight the votes of children and diminish parents. Why do they want the kids to have greater impact on society than you, the parents who raise? Why? Tell me in the chat. The answer is obvious. Because they know kids, just by the force of chronological time, by no fault of their own, do not have life experience and haven't actually practiced the things socialists talk about. So they know they're impressionable and more subject more to propaganda. They'll be more impressionable. That's why they always target the kids. Remember we played the clip yesterday? The queer theory lady saying we got to catch the kids early. Folks, this is not seeing around corners. I promise this show, I'm not Karnak from the Johnny Carson show or the Stygian witches from the Clash of the Titans. Give me the eye. I just listen to what they say. What is it? All right, this is a surprise. Guy says he's got the perfect video. All right, I did not see this. This is not part of our show rundown. All right, let me see which one. Play it.
Never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
Thank you, Guy. That was not part of the run. That was an actual MSNBC prior to MSNOW ad. That was an actual ad. Your kids don't belong to you. Hillary Clinton says they belong to the village. So does MSNBC. So does the stupid smart person Yale law professor. He actually said that out loud. Now, I said I was going to help you see around a corner. Go on X, Snapchat, TikTok, and do me a favor. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. Just put in the word boomer, Boomer. Just put it spelled exactly like it sounds. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see a ton of young folks out there being taught by socialists and commies that your boomer's an insult. It's not a compliment. That your 40, 50, and 60-year-old parents and 70-year-old, 60-year-old grandparents, that they're not worth listening to. They're out of touch. They're the boomer gen. Just put it in. Put my thesis to the test if you think I'm lying. This is an organized op against young kids to make them believe that people who made sacrifices for them, their parents and grandparents, are all a bunch of old shitbirds not worthy of their time. Go look it up if you think I'm messing with you. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I'm going to tell the young folks who listen to this show. I see them all the time when in the rare times I get out. They come up and say hello. It gets me a little choked up because I don't have my grandparents around anymore. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like emotional, turn in my man card. But what I wouldn't give for one more dinner with my grandfather, Frank Bongino, who served in the quartermaster division in World War II. He was a truck driver. And because driving trucks was so dangerous, my grandfather used to love to race cars. So did my father. He used to do figure eight. So he was a perfect truck driver. They would race supplies to the front lines. He was in multiple theaters in World War II. And because it was so dangerous, they'd have to drive at night on very little sleep and sometimes without their headlights on. Driving, by the way, with fuel cans in the back. The chances of you dying or burning to death were probably 5 to 10% on any given mission, depending on the danger. He never talked about it, ever. Is he a boomer? Is he one of those people you're talking about? You know, when I graduated from the Secret Service Academy, down in D.C., my grandparents came down, my grandfather, and because, we didn't have a ton of money. I mean, we weren't like super poor, but we were like lower middle class, and my grandparents didn't have a lot of money. We all stayed in this big room. The Secret Service put you up in the DoubleTree at the time in Alexandria. I don't know if they do it anymore. So we all just stayed in the same room. I slept on the couch, and my father, I think, slept on the floor, whatever. And my grandfather, of course, slept in the bed. And in the middle of the night at 2:00 in the morning, I hear this blood-curdling scream. And nobody reacted but me, not my grandmother, not my father. They were like, and they just went back to sleep. The next morning, I said to my father, I go, what was that about? He said, yeah, your grandfather happens once in a while. He just has some bad memories from World War II. And boomer, the boomer. He's a boomer, right? The awareness kicking in. You seeing the op now? You seeing around the corner like I have for a long time? The nothing is happening op, the boomer op. Your parents are old shitbirds. Your grandparents, they don't know shit. What do they know? They don't know shit? Really? Ask them what it was like to be on a government cheese line in the middle of the Depression. Ask them what that was like. No cell phones, no flat screens. Ask them what the coal miners with black lung before they had all these sophisticated air monitoring devices. Ask them what it was like to blast through mountains as they were building, the Transcontinental Railroad, your great-great-grandfathers. But I wouldn't give for just 5 minutes to hear what that was like. Building skyscrapers in New York City before OSHA. Oh, look, I fell. You're dead. No harness. Folks, the op is everywhere. I told you about that. I've warned you. I know it's painful sometimes to have to speak out and say, hey, man, I know it's not cool if you're like, whatever the word is now, I don't know. I'm not hip to the lingo. I know it's not cool or edgy to be a younger person and say, boomers, that's kind of effed up. I mean, My parents and grandparents did a lot for me. They weren't perfect. That's obvious. It's axiomatic. No one's perfect. No gender. But they've learned a lot from their lives. Maybe I should listen to them. Or maybe at least ask them their input. Folks, the war on objective truth is everywhere. You see it. They have to get anything out of the way that conflicts with their government vision, and you are the subject in that new vision of the socialist. That's why this trans debate, too, matters so much to them. Folks, it's not about trans people. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. It is a symptom of a socialist virus where they need you to question everything so government can give you the answer. Just like government can tell you, put this mask on, it'll stop COVID, there's no evidence that ever happened. Again, it's the condom that got everybody pregnant, the face mask, everybody got COVID. The government could not give up the mask debate, just like the government socialists who support big government, just like they can't give up men can be women and women can be men. This trans thing, it's got nothing to do with trans or mask. It has everything to do with power to influence you and you listening and being a subject. I want to show you this clip. Clay Travis, who's a good friend, has a great show. He put up $10 million to have a WNBA team play a high school basketball team of his choice to prove the point that men and women are not the same. They are not the same. It is obvious. It is a scientific fact. XXXY. Everybody knows it who's not crazy. The government people out there who believe in collectivism and subjugation can't lose this fight, though. Because if objective truth wins, everything else they tell you is going to be questioned too. That's why they will die on this hill. Watch this local broadcaster humiliate herself, attacking Clay Travis. Looks like a total tool bag, trying to defend the fact that she thinks women can be men and vice versa. Check this out.
The entire world of women's sports is facing the debate within its own leagues of who should get to play and who should not. And a voice that often shouts loudly in that debate is a right-leaning outlet owned by Fox News called Outkick Sports. And today its founder took to a new stunt, one that really makes no sense if Outkick is really concerned about caring about women in women's sports. So Clay Travis, he's the man behind Outkick. He announced today he's offering $10 million to the winner of a game of basketball between a high school boys team of his choosing and the WNBA defending champions, the Las Vegas Aces. I thought to myself, why? But obviously the answer is because he thinks it is so impossible for any group of women, let alone the best in the game, that they could ever beat younger and more inexperienced boys. It's a thinly veiled sexist joke, revealing the actual truth of how he and his organization feel about women's sports. It's not about caring about them. They think women's sports are a joke.
Nobody said that. Notice how the distraction kicks in. Sexist. This is all you think women are a joke. Nobody said that. Clay Travis is stating a simple biological reality that if you are a male, your muscle mass, your skeletal bone thickness, your VO2 max, in many cases, your response time is going to be greater and lead to greater athletic output, which makes a competition between a man and woman unfair. Why do you think we have weight classes in boxing? Because force equals mass times acceleration. It's called physics. And if a guy's 500 pounds and falls on you, it's going to feel a lot different, that mass, than a guy at 200 pounds in a grappling match. Notice how they have to blind you to objective truth and pray that a sense of awareness never kicks in. This is all an op, folks. It's all bullshit. Now, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I told you, moving back to the beginning when I talked about once you see the doomer grift, and by the doomer grift, I'm talking about these Folex MAGA people who you trusted for years, and you're like, why did they change and turn on us all of a sudden? Folks, everybody has an agenda. I don't know if it's money. Unlike other people in Podcastistan, I don't throw out allegations I can't back up. I don't know. But I know there's an agenda there. Is it power? Self-aggrandizement? But I told you, and I'm warning everyone, now that I'm back on the outside and people have started to kind of give me some really red flag warnings, they are going to turn on every single person in the Trump administration as their power in Folex MAGA gets challenged and they get exposed. I said this to you yesterday, and the second I walked in the office, it's like my phone was listening to me or something. This clip, you know the Young Turds? You know Kank from the Young Turds? You've probably seen Kank. He's a delusional Islamo nutbag. Yeah, I mean, he's been a subject of ridicule on the show for a long time. Kank from the Young Turds, hard lefty communist, right, had Joe Kent on the show. Joe Kent. And it's interesting that Joe Kent only took a couple minutes of his interview to turn on the vice president too. I told you, it's only a matter of time. Check this out.
What happens to J.D. Vance in this equation?
I mean, look, I like JD. He's in a tough spot. I mean, his name's on the ticket, and he has had to go along with a lot of what's taken place in this administration. And look, at the end of the day, he is going to have to answer to a lot of those same donors because he was on the ticket. And so unless he changes things drastically, which I don't even know if he has the power to do at this point, he's still going to be at the mercy of a lot of the people that are still pulling the strings within the Republican Party. And I think this is just some of the trap of the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, because if you lock us into this two-party system, you basically have to pick your side, and then you have to go down with the ship, and that's the position that JD's in right now because President Trump put the ship on the heading, towards the iceberg, for lack of a better metaphor.
You see the threat? You guys see it? Did I call it yesterday or what? You better jump off that ship. We're coming for you next. Oh, you thought it was just about me? No, it's not about. I told you the two criteria to be part of their movement. You got to hate the Jews, Protestants, and evangelicals first. That's mandatory. And you have to shit all over the Trump administration. That's it. They don't care who you are. You can be a ninja. They'll let you in the movement. You can be the evil ninja from Ninja 3, The Domination. They don't really care. As long as you do those two things, you hate those folks and you shit on the Trump administration, you remember, they're coming for every single one of you. I've seen it on both sides. Believe me, my eyes have never been more opened. I've seen it. That's the nothing is happening grift. And I know, people think they're safe. Oh, I don't say anything. That guy's a liar, by the way. And I've told you many times. That guy is a liar. I've exposed this guy over and over. And believe me when I tell you, that moment of vindication, as these things start to come out, and you're starting to see emails now, you're going to be left holding the bullshit bag if you believe it, because receipts matter. I wouldn't be so confident about 100% confidence if I didn't know we were on the right side of this, would I? Or else they just play these clips later, correct? Who would put this on digital history if they weren't as confident as I am? This is where you get the nothing is happening grift. And who do you want to do? You want to bring back the Democrats? Here's another, you guys got the nothing is happening file. Here's another addition to the nothing is happening file. Things that actually happened yesterday. Here's a press conference by FBI Director Kash Patel. How President Trump has basically reordered our global alliances and people we couldn't get from foreign countries in the past. I know, I lived it. It's called an FTOC, Foreign Transfer of Custody. Basically, we go grab people in foreign countries who broke our laws and bring them back. Folks, these things were not happening at the pace they should have been because a lot of these countries didn't respect us. President Trump's like, give us this guy or there's going to be freaking hell to pay. Again, I thought nothing was happening. I'm sure they'll shit on him too. Check this out.
We will give you no sanctuary. In the month of July, the FBI executed almost 30 foreign transfers of custody in over 15 separate countries for drug traffickers, terrorists, murderers, and rapists. So what I'm here to tell you today, for all these individuals that are on the run right now, you will not be on the run for long. We will hunt you down in every corner of the planet, and we will return you here to face American justice. The numbers that we, at the FBI and our partners, are returning to America to face justice from overseas is a record-breaking number. It is a direct result of President Trump's relationships with foreign governments that allow us to work in spaces we were never permitted to work before. And that is why we are delivering these historic results, returning these individuals to America for justice.
Let me tell you how this worked before Cash and I got in there and before President Trump, thankfully, was sworn in. We would just, the FBI and their prior leadership with, by the way, the, blessing of Biden and the prior Obama administration, they would kiss these countries' asses. Hey, we got some child murderer over in, to cite, basically, I'll cite a real case, but I'll use kind of a fake place. I want to give. We got a child murderer in, say, Pakistan or whatever. They go, oh, please, Mr. Pakistan government official, can we please have this person back? And Pakistan may or may not, or they may just say, well, whatevs. It wasn't actually Pakistan, but I'm telling you, that's not the way the Trump administration works. Their State Department, Rubio, the president himself. Like, you're going to turn that person over. You understand? It's not a question. You think that's an accident? I know the doomers don't really give a shit. I know you don't care because your goal is dooming and grifting. It's not actually getting people out to vote and support an agenda that brings spreadsheet results. I understand that. However, to you, working class Americans that watch this show, I told you, I wouldn't be so confident if I wasn't so sure in the end that all of this, when this 4-year body of work is done, that we're going to have a spreadsheet of arrests, indictments, public corruption cases. And what's the other side going to have? Defamation suits, clownish statements that are roundly debunked by actual receipts. They're all going to look like morons. And folks, listen, our enemies, what are you going to do? Vote for the other side? May says in the chat, historic results is an understatement. You're damn right. It's an understatement. What are you going to do? Vote on election day coming up just right around the corner for the other side? You want open borders again? You want these phonies? Ladies and gentlemen, you know what drives me freaking crazy more than anything? Voices of Democrats. I can't stand it. How they constantly change their voice, their accent to play to a crowd. Just speak normally like you always talk. Did you see this recent one? I thought this was fake. I said to the guys even in the email, please check. This is actually real. This is Mamdani the communist up in New York years ago doing some kind of promo or something for a play. It's his mom's film? Is that what it is? Folks, I want you to... Mamdani sounds a little different. Just like Kamala, AOC, they change how they talk in front of groups of people because tequila, they're phony, they're fake, the art of deception. Here we go with Voices of Democrats. Check this out.
But I mean, we also do, our showkees. We do our showkees in Kampala. But I mean, having a dance move to a song is a big thing, right? But I would say the Nigerians have really patented that. The Nigerians come out with a song, like Yemi Alade has a song called, what's the name? Kofi Annan. She has a song called Kofi Annan. Do the Kofi Annan. Now all my friends in Kampala are doing the Kofi Annan.
I'm sorry, man. This has been a really heavy show. I needed that at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Paula designed this for you. Stupid is a choice. And then for your liberal friends on the back, don't be stupid. Store.bongino.com if you'd like one yourself. Also, the 1776 shirt is there as well. 150 years of freedom is my personal favorite. I want to play one more clip for you because you know who's not a phony? Again, you're not obligated in a republic to vote for, like for, speak positively about it, but he's definitely not phony, is the president. The president has no problem being genuine in front of people at all. Did you see this yesterday? This lady comes up on the stage to give a quick speech at a Trump event in Nevada, and her child tries to run off. Look at that guy, cat-like reflexes for an 80-year-old. Watch this. You see this? There we go. Here we go. Bouncing. Listen. You hear him? He's in the back. He goes, I didn't want to be like Biden running off. This guy, He doesn't have to be a phony. He's just a natural in front of a crowd. It's kind of hilarious. Again, it doesn't obligate you to, I'm not telling you like it's a reason to vote or not vote. I'm just saying like the guy's not phony. What is he, 80-something? He's bouncing around, catching a kid on the stage in his Florsheim shoes he loves. All right, it is time for our comment of the day. You know our 1776 Live Club. All you have to do is join us live every day at 10 a.m. We pick a comment of the day, gets entered into our weekly contest, and a winner is picked once a week. Well, what do you win? You win $1,776. Why? Because we just like to give away stuff to our audience. If you want to see the official rules, go to Bongino.com/1776. And our comment of the day for today is That crazy mom. I like that. I raised my kids to know the truth. Proud granddaughter of a World War II veteran. I will never let anyone forget what he fought for. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. You know, I like that, guys. You mixed it up a little. Sometimes we do funny stuff. That crazy mom, you're damn right. They're called the greatest generation for a reason. That's not an accident. That's a great comment. Good job, guys. Sometimes we laugh about them, but we need a couple of those that are people who really show a deep sense of introspection, and you're absolutely correct. Don't fall for this boomers, all this other crap. Sean Farish, the show is starting August 17th. Please do me a favor. Go to Bongino.com/Sean, SHAWN. All of the links to follow his content on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, they're all there. Please go there, Bongino.com/Sean. Make sure you give him a follow. August 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be his launch on our Bongino Report network here. You know, we have Vince every morning at 8, of course, now the king of podcasting in the morning, Rumble.com/Vince. And then Haley at noon, Rumble.com/Haley. Be sure to check them out. And we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Oh, we got to show that Justin did this. Put it at rumble.com/Bongino. Click the follow button if you want to watch on the web. It's all free. You can even check it out on your smart TV as well. All free. Rumble.com/Bongino. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.
The news moves fast, but the truth should not get lost in the chaos. I'm Sean Farish, and this is Sean Farish Live. Each episode brings you the biggest political stories of the day, common sense analysis, sharp humor, nobody does a better job, everybody's talking about it, and straightforward conversations about the issues shaping America's future. From Washington to the culture wars, from breaking news to the rising stars in the movement to save our country, we will cover what matters most and why. If you're tired of the spin, the fake news, the phonies and the losers, and you're ready for informed, entertaining commentary that gets straight to the point, you are in the right place. Catch the show live on Rumble weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm so excited to have you along for the ride. Thank you for your attention to this matter.